So guys, we did it. We finally found the perfect Pro controller, and they still shit the bed. So it appears, at least for now, that I still have a job. Today my job is highlighting a device with more potential than a suburban kid in college, which usually doesn't go that well, but you get my point. Every single Pro controller feature I've been praising for the past few years is right here on the Machenike, the Nike G6. And on paper, at least, everything seems perfect. Hall effect sticks designed to counter stick drift, which also have swappable sticks, may or may not have lost one, which is why the controller you're seeing has black thumbsticks. And even though they're removable, the controller actually doesn't come with extra swappable thumbsticks, but it does come with 3-way trigger stops, 2 rear buttons, a Clicky D-pad, and ABXY buttons, as well as a few other things. It's almost like a Lamborghini Countach. It seems really, really nice and perfect until you own one. Then it's horribly disappointing. Before we get into that, I have shadows to raid, even though I'm not at 500,000 subs, which is how long I thought it would probably take before I got a sponsorship from Raid Shadow Legends. I had to take the opportunity. I'm sure most of you have heard of Raid before, as it's one of the most popular free-to-play mobile games with over 80 million downloads. It's also one of the only mobile games I've ever seen with quality and frame rate settings available, and the graphics themselves look great for a mobile experience. The gameplay is turn-based, but still action-packed with over 650 champions to choose from and endless ways to customize them for battle. This April, Raid is going on an egg hunt, and to join, you just download Raid using the links below, copy your in-game player ID, and then head over to egghuntplayerium.com from April 14th to May 15th. Scour the Dragon's Lair using your phone, and if you find the hidden egg, you can win amazing in-game items and even real-life prizes, ranging from legendary raid champions to Amazon gift cards with a total value of $20,000. There's also a code for an in-game gift on the website for those who already have existing accounts. Last month, Raid celebrated its 4th anniversary, and I've been asked to invite 4 champions to a dinner party. I think first we'll be inviting Royal Guard. He has an extremely powerful ability that scales damage based on enemy max HP. Next, we'll do Coronar. I think that's how you say it. His ability is being Biff Tannen? Kelvalax owns a Twitter account, so his special is Poison. And while he may not be epic or legendary, I think having a Crusader on your side is a pretty good idea as well. If you're interested in getting Raid, be sure to use my link in the description or scan the QR code up in the top right-hand corner. In doing so, you'll get an epic champion and Knight Errant and a bunch of other useful in-game items. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. The thing currently taking up 12/17 of your screen is called the Machenike G6. It is $70 on AliExpress, which is actually a sale. It was originally 85 bucks. Or 100 if you shop for it a Newegg.
I know that math is important in some way to somehow.
The G6 is wireless with both Bluetooth 5.0 and 2.4 gigahertz via a dongle, and this connection is supported by an 860 milliamp hour battery for about 7 to 10 hours, which is more than enough time to figure out that this controller is a complete shit heap. Here's Exhibit A. Machenike claims that this controller has a 200 Hz polling rate with 0 delay. Not only is that not true, cut your polling rate in half, and that is the actual polling rate of your controller wired. And if you look even closer, the polling rate actually kind of resembles a seismometer. Overclocking does next to nothing either, so have fun. By the way, you won't. It feels pretty clunky, but the response time is going to be the least of your worries. You'll very quickly find yourself more occupied by the god-awful thumbsticks, which were calibrated by an orangutan, so they feel inhuman. Remember earlier when I said the thumbsticks countered stick drift? Well, they do. That's because they're Hall effect sticks, and I've actually featured them in 2 previous controller reviews, both of which felt infinitely better than the controller sitting before me because those thumbsticks actually had calibration, period. My theory is that the reason you're currently witnessing what is literally a square dead zone is maybe they just didn't care to calibrate that stick. I really don't know. On the polar opposite end of the spectrum, you have the right stick for little to no reason. Regardless of the perfect dead zone, it still feels like I'm using a Ferrari steering wheel to aim, which, now that I think about it, may actually be because of the response time. Maybe I'm wrong. There are some features here that had a little bit of effort put into them and they turned out half decent. For instance, the ABXY buttons have micro switches in them. They're rated for 5 million clicks. Who the hell knows if that's true? Their travel distance isn't too far off of what a normal controller would be, and they have 80 grams of actuation force. They remind me a lot of the Gamester G7 ABXY buttons, which, yes, I know, I'm yet to review, I'm a dickhead, I'm aware. The D-pad feels somewhat similar to the ABXY buttons, but these switches are not the same, so I can't really give you guys specs. I was unable to find them. All I know is that this is an Xbox Series X D-pad that's clickier than all the others. Which sucks, because this controller would easily be one of the best fighting controllers of all time if it didn't kick its own ass so badly. None of the micro switches used on the front faceplate were used on the rear faceplate with the rear buttons, which is perfectly fine. They really didn't need them. Rear buttons are ridiculously simple, so I'm not really gonna give Machenike, whatever, credit for something that works or should work 100% of the time. Buttons are nearly impossible to fuck up. You can map macros or normal controller inputs to these buttons whenever you like via the FN button, so doing it manually, or you can use the software. The software is called Keylinker, and not doing a deep dive here. I don't think anyone has on YouTube. It's got all the goddamn features. I need more negativity in my life.
I thrive off negativity. Anything negative, I'm for it.
When you hear that the G6 has 3-way trigger stops, you're probably thinking back on a certain Elite controller, which in my opinion does 3-way trigger stops perfectly, and up until now, the Elite Series 2 has the only viable, acceptable set of 3-way trigger stops ever. And that's still true. These ones work, and they work well, but they're not as short as I'd like them to be. They change the dead zone, they work, they don't slip, they're fine, they just need to be shorter. Closing out the show with my Switch audience, I know you guys are looking for gyro and Nintendo Switch Wake Up, which this has. The problem is, I think the controller's too far gone to be worth it for any of those reasons. And that really gets to me, man, because the G6 literally has the greatest spec sheet of any Pro controller I've ever seen. So why are its features so malnourished and neglected? The trigger stops, ABXY, and D-pad buttons all worked to some degree, but the rear buttons stopped working randomly. The thumbsticks were calibrated by someone who didn't have thumbs. The response time had Alzheimer's. I mean, so did the rear buttons. I'd have to remap them every single time I use the controller. I'm not going to continue to complain. It's very simple. All the parts are here. Literally all the parts are here. They just need fine tuning. Y'all did it. Y'all made the perfect Pro controller. Now fix it. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this word that describes the company that makes this controller. I might have forgot to put the space visuals up as well. Nope, not doing it again. That looks cool enough. Anyways, real quick before I go, I would like to say, I've always said in past live streams and in past videos, and I do continue to keep this a promise, I don't plan on having sponsors every video. I hate YouTubers who do that shit, and I don't plan on doing that shit, but the next few videos will have sponsors. Keep in mind, they're going to be funding some pretty cool content, and I also got some really cool content hopefully coming out this week, so keep an eye out. If you enjoyed this and something about maybe that or something, I don't know, be sure to drop us a sub down below. I still haven't gotten a new outro figured out, so here's a meme I found on Instagram the other day.